For some reason, options seems to be the thing that a lot of people know of when it comes to the market, but they just don't really understand. Or maybe they understand, they just can't put it into a best practice. And so what I want to do today is talk to you guys using Webull, showing you some of the best options, best practices that I've learned over the past years. What are some things that I look for? What are some stats that I keep up? What are the Greeks that I'm looking at? And what my options chain setup is. I feel like this will be very beneficial for you guys because there's really only a couple of things in my personal opinion with the way that I trade that you need to look at, and most of the other things are really not that important. If you don't have Webull, it doesn't really matter. Most options chains look the same, but I feel that Webull is probably just one of the easiest for you guys to use. And on top of that, I have a small account right now, and I figured that while I'm just messing with all of my options here, I can kind of just share it with you. The ticker that we're going to be using today is going to be Tesla. You could really just use any ticker that you want, but we're going to be looking at first the strikes. So what we're looking at is going to be the amount of strikes that you currently have up. I'm somebody who likes to do a wide array of things. I like to sometimes sell cash secured puts. Sometimes I want to run covered calls. There's gonna be other days that I'm just trading, buying to open, selling to close, normal contracts that I want maybe at the money. So there's a lot of different strikes that I, as a trader, am going to be looking at. If you, on the other hand, are somebody who isn't going to be going super far out of the money for selling cash secured puts or doing any types of spreads, then maybe you don't want to have a ton of strikes up. Maybe you just want to keep it simple and easy and maybe have 5 or 6. Now, if you are somebody like me who wants more than just one strike, all you have to do is come up here to the top left and you're going to see this section up here for your strikes. Right now, mine says all, but you could pick 6, you could pick 10. And the reason that I pick all is because, like I said, most of the time you don't want to be going too far away from the actual strike. Most of the time I'm trying to be in the money if I'm just buying and selling options. But if I'm doing something like spreads or I'm selling very far out of the money cash secured puts, I might want to see some strikes that are very far out of the money. And I also just feel that ultimately having more information is not going to be the worst thing out there. Now, as far as the things that I think are the most important, this can change for everybody, but the option items that I usually always have up are going to be my bid, my ask, the last, because I want to see how far that spread is. Slippage hurts way more than a lot of people understand. And most importantly, I want to have volume. Now, volume, we're going to get a little bit more in depth as we start to talk about what I look for in a contract, but you do want to make sure that you're constantly watching your volume. If you're somebody who doesn't want to keep bid, ask, last up, what you could do is just keep the mid up so that you have a general understanding of where you should be setting your limit orders. When watching the Greeks, I personally want quick access to the delta, the gamma, and the theta. And as far as analysis, I want implied volatility on, and I love to have OTM percentage. We're going to talk about that specifically when it comes to selling cash secured puts and doing spreads, but it's something that I really like to have. So this is how I personally have it set up. I always have calls to the left, puts to the right. I like to be able to see both of them. And you can see that, yes, I will have to slide back and forth, but there's not columns upon columns upon columns. I usually like to keep my volume and percentage out of the money and my open interest over here on the right. And I like to usually keep the bid, ask, last, and percentage change over here on the left. Now, as far as some good practices when picking a contract, the first thing that you have to remember is liquidity. It doesn't matter how much money that it says that you're up if you can't actually sell the contract. And a lot of times people get killed with slippage, or they will buy a contract at like a market order that has no volume. They'll lose a couple $100 just getting in or out of the contract. And then when they go to sell it, they sell it at a market and it's way further away than what they think they're actually probably going to sell the contract for. What he's looking for is going to be volume. In my personal opinion, I need volume for the day, or at least at the time of me buying, to be over 200, minimum 100, but really 2 to 250 volume for the day so far. Now, one thing that you will notice is that the closer in time that we have till expiration, usually the higher the volume, but also the more risky of an option there's going to be. If we're going to be taking a look at Tesla, let's say that I think that Tesla is going to go up over the next couple of weeks. Something that I like to do is always add 2 weeks longer than I think I need. So if I'm bullish on the next 2 weeks, I'm not going to get any calls that expire within the next 16 days. Instead, I'm going to be looking at something like April 28th or May 5th. I like the 28th because it's about 30 days away. So if we take a look at this April 28th, 2023 contract dates, you're going to see that these 190 puts would be pretty good because we're right at the money. We're not going to be going super far out of the money or anything. And we also have very nice volume. The volume is over 286 today. I would really like to see much more, but it hits our minimum threshold. The implied volatility is 63%, which is a bit high. Really, anything like over 65 to 70% is considered pretty high, but Tesla is a pretty volatile stock, so therefore the contracts are going to be volatile as well. And you can see that right now we do have a decent spread, with the last price being at about 12.76 and the mid sitting at about 12.52. So at a glance, the best thing that you need to be looking for is volume, good open interest, and not high implied volatility. Now, if I'm somebody who's looking to sell cash secured puts, which I can do an entire video on this in the future, if you want, just comment down below. What I would be looking for with cash secured puts is selling something that has high implied volatility, which is the opposite of what we want to do if we buy, something that has high theta decay, which is the opposite of what we want to do if we want to buy, and selling something that has a high probability of expiring out of the money, which is something that we don't want to do. Basically having the psychology of the opposite of what a smart option purchase would be. Those are the types of options you want to sell. Let's say that I wanted to sell a cash secured put on Tesla for April 28th. Personally, what I'm usually looking for is good volume. So I like these 185 puts right here. There's 1200 volume. I'm looking for open percentage out of the money. Normally, I want to see that at least 70%. This is at 54%. So I know that I want to go with something safer. Moving our way up the options chain, you can see that once we get up into these, right around the 170, 167.50, 162s, the out of the money percentage is high, but look at how low our volume is. Personally, the one that I would be looking at would probably be the 160s, because we have a probability out of the money of 78%, with the theta decay being pretty decent and the volume holding at 185 today, with open interest at 775. I can do another video explaining this in more detail in the future if you are interested in cash secured puts or running put credit spread. I hope this video helped. It was meant to be short and sweet to give you guys just very basic rules of thumb that I'm looking for when I'm setting up an options chain on a new account, or just some quick tips that you guys could add into your trading repertoire. Make sure you hit the like button and check out our Discord community. It's completely free in the description. And if you want access to all of my trades, you can get them over there as well if you upgrade your account. Thanks for all the support, and I'll see you next time.